Welcome everybody to yet another Polygon review interview. This time I have the great pleasure to talk to none other than Sean Plott, aka Day9, a name that many of you will be familiar with. Hello Sean, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I just woke up and I'm eager and ready to talk about video games first thing in the morning.
Excellent. Well, the Plott name is big in the Starcraft universe, with your brother Nick living and working as a professional caster in Korea, Nick Tasteless Plott. But you are in your own right a very accomplished Starcraft player throughout the history of Starcraft, and
Well, thank you.
well, and also, if you will, if you don't mind the term, an eSports scholar, which consists of you regularly producing podcasts and live stream broadcasts where you do not only commentate upon the game but dissect it and analyze it down to a science almost. What can you tell us about your passion for StarCraft and your wish to understand it so much into every detail?
Well, I think a lot of the reason that I just enjoy talking about it so much is largely because my brother, like growing up with him, I mean, you kind of have this opportunity to just turn to someone and ask them anything you want about StarCraft, whereas most people just sort of like play by themselves and they'll occasionally chat online, but it's like so much different having to just actually articulate something with your voice, because you kind of have to do it on the fly. And I mean, Nick would really come up to me like almost every day and be like, Sean, what do you think about this? And he'd always have some sort of weird, crazy strategy or something like really standard, and we just kind of talk about it. And I guess I grew up doing that for quite some time. So I would definitely say that that's a big part of it. Just like having a brother or someone who I could talk to almost every single day about StarCraft. It's actually kind of funny. We used to just like stay up till like 5 in the morning talking to each other about StarCraft, like on school nights, because our beds were actually right next to each other. So we'd always like go into school like just groggy and exhausted, and then we just like do it again the exact same way like the following night.
Sounds like stuff that dreams are made of, truly. I had the great pleasure of talking to your brother just a week ago to interview him, and there's a link in the sidebar for you guys if you haven't checked it out yet. Well, that sounds really exciting, I must say. So it comes from a very early childhood phase then, that you grew up with StarCraft from the very, very get-go, basically?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, it always started out with our mom being just a little bit how do I want to say it? I don't know. She just didn't want us playing too many video games. We had this like 3 o'clock rule of no video games till 3. And I mean, really, what would end up happening is we're kind of forced to talk about video games during that entire period of time,
Yes, yeah.
up to 3. And of course, she was just doing the normal mom thing, like go outside, get other hobbies, don't, be reclusive inside all day. But really early on in our StarCraft career, our mom like got it, So like, I think that's a real struggle that a lot of kids deal with, that their parents just don't quite, understand what it is they're doing. But mom, I think in 2001, she actually just bought tickets for both of us to go out to the one of the early World Cyber Games finals for USA.
Wow.
I mean, and that was really, really great to have that level of support. So that's another big factor of kind of how it started. Just to have this like in-family support. We just became this like StarCraft family. I think a lot of people even know that my mom surfs TeamLiquid.net under the name CLFO40.
Wow, that's quite a story, which I think few listeners to this will can say happened to them. But good on you. It clearly had an effect. I mean, Nick is living the dream in Korea, and you yourself might perhaps not getting a paycheck for it, but you're certainly very, very active. And going to StarCraft right now, the community is more alive and kicking than ever, I would say. It's no longer a small subculture living on the fringe of computer game existence. Foreign gamers, it's no longer a complete novelty in Korea, and we've seen several of our foreign hopes take down Korean legendary pro gamers in the recent World Cyber Games and IEF, etc. And on top of that, the second season of the Team Liquid Star League has begun, and that looks to be like a real cataclysmic event. But you have been a StarCraft veteran since the dawn of time. What are your impressions of the state of the game right now and for the future, looking back and beyond?
All right, well, first I'm going to clear my throat. because there we go.
You do that.
I've been waiting for that. I wanted you to finish your question first, so I didn't just sort of like hawk into the mic.
Sorry for such an epically long question. Just trying to build up the hype a bit.
Oh, no, it's quite a cataclysmic question, to steal your words. Oh, that's such a cool word. All right, but okay, so in StarCraft, there was kind of like this dip in the middle period. I think I'd probably say around 2003 or 4 or so. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong, but there was like this period of time where everyone was just terrified that macro was just taking over StarCraft, that all you ever really had to do in the game was just macro. So you'd get players who would just sort of sit, turtle, and then push out, and then one player would win. And StarCraft was a little bit boring for a while there, and there was this big sort of like fear in the community that the game had degenerated into something dull. And when I think about that now and contrast that to what's happening right now in the current trends, I mean, just ignoring all the events that are going on, just in terms of gameplay, there's so much variety and so many weird things that players are trying out right now. And they can back it up with incredible macro and great micro and just everything that makes you go, wow, man, I could never do that. That's so awesome. So it's this great blend of cool strategies to look at and amazing execution. And then in addition to just all the that stuff, we have these like awesome community events. And it's kind of funny that it's really coming back again. You can really tell that there's a community drive for it, because again, way back at the dawn of time, when many people who are listening were probably fetuses back then, but like when StarCraft first came out, like they had these incredibly huge tournaments. Like I still remember the Game Fix tournament, if anyone can remember that, where it was a $10,000 first place prize. I think it was for Americans only, I want to say. The American player Weir ended up winning it, Whear, if anyone remembers him. And like around that era, there were just these enormous prize pools and these incredible tournaments. And of course, it faded away after that. But that's like normal for any sort of competitive game, you know, just to have like this spike of interest from companies at the start because they want to advertise their product, and then it just fades into obscurity again. And what I'm so pleased to see right now is that there's this slide all the way back up and has just surpassed that initial boost that any new game gets. Like now we have the Team Liquid Star League that has like a $23,000 prize pool and like a $10,000 first place prize. Hope I'm getting that right. Don't want to get someone overexcited.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just this enormous prize pool. And then we have like all these tournaments in China, like IEF and PGL, and that have been going on as of late. And it's just so cool to see that clearly it's because StarCraft is becoming an established sport, an established game, as opposed to just some new hype.
It's really cool. I'm amazed, having been a long-time fan and now gotten back to it with a vengeance and seeing it being so popular. I mean, many viewers of this video will be fairly new to the game, and that's really exciting. But speaking of the TSL, the Team Liquid Star League, the perhaps largest foreign professional tournament there has been for quite a while, if not ever, will you be taking part in any shape or form?
So I will be unable to play in this just because I have so many like side projects and school. I mean, yeah, I really need to be more responsible and drop out of school so I can get more StarCraft done. But I certainly will be taking part in the commentary. And also I'd like to do some sort of integration of the Team Liquid Star League with like the Day 9 dailies, instead of just taking recent pro gamer VODs, actually getting some replays from the Star League and checking out some of those. That would be really, really fun.
Well, that sounds like a very good idea. Could we perhaps talk a bit more about that, the Day 9 dailies and your live stream, livestream.com/StriderDoom, link in the sidebar?
Oh, I would love to. Well, first of all, for those of you who are familiar, Strider Doom is from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The team Strider Doom is just unbelievably fun to watch. So, sorry, I think I interrupted your question, but I just had to make sure that was it.
Now we all know that. Yes, indeed, tell us more about what your motivations are and what you're trying to achieve with these very educational casts.
So something I kind of forgot to mention a little bit earlier is that I have a background in mathematics. That was my undergraduate degree.
I've almost guessed.
And at my undergrad, Harvey Mudd, you really had to do a lot of spoken presentations explaining a lot of really complicated ideas. And also, the homework was just absolutely impossible, so there's no way you were going to do it on your own. So you really did have to work with other people. So you got a lot of practice just articulating ideas. And it was really fun because, I mean, they would give you like 5 minutes to explain something unbelievably complicated, so it became this really fun task to sort of think about, how am I actually going to explain this concept? And I kind of started to enjoy thinking about things in that regard. So when all of a sudden, with my passion of StarCraft, when I wasn't having time to play it and I needed that fix, and I was spending time watching the matches anyways, I just decided that it would be fun to talk about it because I love trying to explain things. I love StarCraft, and I love hearing myself talk. So, I mean, what better decision than to do just a live stream? And plus, it only takes about an hour and 10 minutes a day. I really don't do any preparation at all for it, other than just opening up the video and playing some of my awesome music beforehand.